You think you know Minecraft. You build, you survive, you conquer. But you are walking on a graveyard. Every block you mine and every dimension you visit holds the dark secrets of a civilization that tried to play God and lost. Today we are opening the classified files on the ancient builders. This is the complete timeline of their descent into madness. Bedrock isn't the bottom of the world. It is a cage. Players assume that the void beneath Minecraft is just empty space, but structurally it behaves like an aggressive deletion protocol. If you break through the floor and fall into it, you don't just fall forever. The universe itself begins crushing you, even in creative mode where you are literally an invincible god. The void will still violently terminate your existence. It isn't a location. It is a total breakdown of matter. The ancient builders didn't place the lowest layer of the overworld to stop you from digging too deep. They placed it to seal off a cosmic glitch that is constantly trying to consume the planet. They knew the overworld was inherently unstable. With the void threatening them from below, the ancient builders realized their time on the surface was coming to an end. So, they started digging. They didn't just build homes, they built fortresses. Strongholds were never meant to be found. Think about their generation. They are never built on the surface. They are buried deep underground, often crushed beneath the weight of entire oceans, and deliberately disconnected from the cave systems around them. They aren't underground castles. They are apocalyptic fallout bunkers. The silverfish spawners weren't placed there to attack you. They were engineered as a last resort defense system to eat through the stone and collapse the portal room if the surface was ever breached. When the ancient builders finally fled into the end dimension, they didn't just lock the door behind them. They intentionally buried their own bunkers to completely erase themselves from history. But running from the overworld came with a terrible cost. Stepping through that portal wasn't a journey to paradise. It was a one-way ticket to a dimension that would fundamentally break them. The end cities are not monuments. They are asylums. When the ancient builders fled into this dimension, they were trapped in a void with no day, no night, and no escape. Over generations, the endless isolation and the chorus fruit they were forced to consume mutated their biology and shattered their minds. Look at the architecture. It defies gravity, completely detached from the physical logic of the overworld. The branching, chaotic towers weren't designed for living. They were built by a civilization that had completely forgotten how to be human. These sprawling, unnatural structures are the final, desperate creations of a species descending into total madness. They realized their mistake too late. As their minds began to slip and their bodies mutated, a desperate faction of the builders formulated one final, impossible plan to return to the overworld. The end ships aren't exploration vessels. They are failed escape pods. When you finally conquer an end city, you find the most valuable item in the game, perfectly mounted in an item frame. But why would an advanced civilization build a ship, craft a set of elytra wings, and then just leave them behind? They were trying to escape. Realizing the end was a trap, the ancient builders began constructing an entire fleet to fly back across the void. They synthesized these artificial wings as their final ticket home. But the biological mutation took over before they could launch. They lost their minds, abandoned the steering wheels, and left their only hope of survival rotting in the hull. The tragedy of the end wasn't their only failure. Long before they fled the overworld, they tried to harness the power of a completely different dimension. A dimension so incredibly volatile, they eventually had to lock it away just to protect the universe. The bedrock ceiling of the Nether isn't meant to keep players out. Think about what the Nether actually is. It is a sealed pressure cooker of flowing magma, toxic ash, and aggressive biological decay. The entire dimension operates like a planetary containment zone. The ancient builders didn't construct an impenetrable roof just to stop you from building on top of it. They sealed the dimension to prevent that highly toxic atmosphere from leaking into the overworld and suffocating the surface. It is a strict quarantine measure, but every time you ignite a portal and shatter that barrier, you are compromising a containment seal that has held for thousands of years. Between the toxic pressure of the Nether, the aggressive deletion of the void, and the suffocating isolation of the end, the ancient builders were running out of space. In a final act of desperation, they pushed the boundaries of their world to the absolute limit, until the world simply broke back. The far lands aren't just a glitch. They are the mathematical collapse of reality. In the ancient versions of the overworld, if you traveled millions of blocks from spawn, the terrain didn't just stop. It violently tore itself apart. Physics shattered, and the world mutated into a massive, corrupted wall of digital noise. In the context of the lore, this means when the ancient builders expanded too far, they didn't just run out of land. They hit the absolute limit of the universe's processing power. The physical fabric of their reality simply gave up. It was a terrifying physical warning that they had wandered into a dimension where existence itself could no longer be sustained. The ancient builders pushed the limits of physics, biology, and the very code of reality. Their ambition built wonders, but their hubris left behind a fractured universe. You aren't just surviving in Minecraft. You are wandering through the ruins of their mistakes. If you want to uncover more dark gaming mysteries, hit that subscribe button to join the hub. Until next time, watch your step.